Good morning, everybody. Welcome to IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. I'm Joe Cook. That's Ian Boyd. That's Justin Wells. Thank you for watching. Roaster, thank you for joining in as always. Sugar Poppy, you too. We appreciate the regulars. We appreciate everybody new who's joining in. And if you have not gone and joined Inside Texas, make sure you do that right now. Go to that first link in our description because, as the screen will tell you in just a second, you can sign up for just $1. That'll get you the best Texas Longhorns insight, analysis, recruiting information, portal information, everything you need to know about the Longhorns. Got men's basketball, got baseball coming up, alumni game this weekend. We'll have all that covered over at Inside Texas. So make sure you join. Use that first link in our description. Use that QR code there at the top left of the screen. Can't wait to see everybody over there as we talk about the latest in Longhorn land. And before we get into some really, really fun NCAA minutia. Ian, I don't know if we've talked a ton about Laurence Seymore over the course of, the past week, past couple days. What do you think of him just as an overall football player before we get into the eligibility aspect of it?
Really good football player. Similar to DJ Campbell, she's like 6'2", but wide, powerful, keeps his feet under him really well, which stands out watching him after watching Texas all year, where guys are always lunging and falling down. He's hard to go through. He moves forward pretty well. He moves laterally pretty well. He's not like, there's a reason he's coming back to college and not going to the NFL, but he's quite good. He's basically, before this whole window opened and we're talking about what does Texas need to do in the portal, I would have said they want to grab like 3 or 4 of this guy.
Yeah.
They grabbed one. Sikorsky is close, but a little younger. But, if he clears in terms of being eligible, if he clears the NCAA rules that he's clearly in violation of, then he might be, that might do the trick. So, if Baker can translate at guard and this guy is eligible, then I think that your offensive line is pretty well settled, and maybe even with some decent depth, depending on, a few other questions like Jaden Chapman, how he looks if he played at guard. How does Kojo look coming back? Can Jackson Christian offer anything in year 2 now, year 3? The twins were the twins, but
gotta trust them.
You gotta trust them. This twin, but the top line looks like it could be good.
Justin, when you think about this 4-man class, it's always the most roundabout way of getting to the destination, it seems like, for Texas. But Texas is a place where you can just, at the end of it, like, oh, wait, hold on. Let's just go straight through and make additions like this. Jonte Newman, Melvin Siani, Dylan Sikorsky, and now Laurence Seymore as a 4-man class goes for what Texas needs. I'll give you the binary thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think?
If he's eligible, 2 thumbs up. Really. If he's eligible, that's a guy. That's you don't have to have a Zach Martin. You don't have to have a Quentin Nelson. You need a guy that can be a screener in the run game and a really good pass blocker. And that's exactly what this guy is, I think, essentially. So I'm going to give you a thumbs up, but that's on the basis that he's going to become eligible. And I really do think he will. If this was 10 years ago, he would not get that eligibility. In 2026, buddy, you go get it. Play till you're 30 in college.
So that gets us to where we're at with Seymore as far as what is preventing him from being a surefire starter or number 6 guy next year. And I think we're all kind of the opinion they're not bringing this guy in and maybe going through the trouble, for lack of a better term, for this guy not to start.
Good point.
I'll try to keep this story. I wrote a 1,100-word article yesterday, and it was 1,500 before I went through it. But I did see this question real quick, and I wanted to – I heard somebody mention Kojo, and Jay has this question. I think his mother just posted on Instagram last week him starting to run and sprint. So we'll see about full contact because he was a preseason camp injury.
August.
Yeah. So
he needs 12 months, Joe.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be full contact, but he is running. I saw that from his mother's Instagram page. So not someone at this point who I'm going to think like, okay, contending for the top 5 spots. Back to Seymore. And again, this was a 1,500 word article, and I had to remove about 300 words from it. Class of 2021 guy, redshirted in 2021, played in 2 games at Miami, true freshman season. 2022, here we go, played in 6 games as a redshirt freshman. He starts, and also in 2022, what happens is the NCAA institutes new rules on the transfer portal, winter window, spring window. And you can be immediately eligible at your next school if you enter during those windows. If you don't enter during those windows predetermined by the NCAA, you're not immediately eligible at your next school. And you have to go by the old transfer rules where you have to sit out a year, spend a year.
I didn't know those still existed.
Yeah. Yeah. So you spend a year in residence is what the technical term is. So in preseason camp in 2022, in preseason camp in 2023, Laurence Seymore gets about through 4 days at Miami. And this is under Cristobal. This is under Mirabel. Like there's no head coaching change. There's no reason for him to jump in other than he wanted a change of scenery for whatever reason. He transfers to Akron, and Akron says, look, dude, you got to sit. You're leaving outside the window. It means we can't immediately play you. You got to sit for a year. That burns a year of eligibility. So he was a sophomore at Akron, and then his junior season at Akron in 2024, he gets to play. He plays 7 games for the Zips, plays at Ohio State. That's where one of the few pictures of him in action is. And then in 2025, he transfers to Western Kentucky, has his all-conference and all-America season, starts 13 games as the left tackle. And during this 2025 season, Western Kentucky reaches out to Akron and says, hey, give us a little bit of insight on, how he left Miami, how he got to Akron, all that, because we're going to try to apply for an extension of eligibility waiver for him at WKU to get another year out of him. As soon as he enters the portal, I'm sure WKU is like, all right, we're done. So he's in the portal, doesn't hear from Texas that much, doesn't visit Texas. And I think right before his signature, that's kind of when Texas starts ramping it up and saying, you know what? We want you. This is going to work. We're going to make this happen. They sign Texas. Texas signs him, post a story, all the different stuff. But I think one of the reasons everybody may have been a little slow to pursue someone who's got, look, if you got second team All-America by your name, people are going to be like, oh, okay, that's a player. No matter what you
go off.
Yeah. And for him to have been in the portal for probably a little longer than anticipated as available, I think stems from the fact that people weren't exactly sure of his eligibility picture. And you know what? Hey, if you're 6'1.5", which I think is pretty close to verified, if you're 325, are you a pro prospect? Maybe not. Are you a really good college player still? Did Manny Diaz want you? Did Mario Cristobal keep you? Yeah, you can make that work. That's a good player. It's an All-American. And Texas said, you know what? That's worth it. Here's the thing. That year in residence, that burns a year of eligibility. And he had to take it because he entered the transfer portal outside of the established window.
That's going to be the clip that allows him to get another year.
Right. You can enter the portal whenever you want.
Right.
If you
But there's restrictions if it's not in the right time window.
If you enter it outside of the window, as it currently stands with the NCAA, or as it stood then with the NCAA, you could not be immediately eligible. And that was after COVID and, kind of the first wave of player mobility and agency, not like agency, but like self-agency, player control. I can see Ian just be like, oh man, where is this sport going? And
this is the minor leagues, buddy.
That's fair. So there's a lot of paperwork. I'll skip through that because I think Miami was a little shoddy in their method of actually implementing him into the portal. I don't know if that matters quite yet. These are the two big words that matter. Who took U.S. history and remembers the Sherman Antitrust Act? Okay.
We didn't talk about that.
Okay. How do I condense this for a football podcast?
I hear antitrust, I think of baseball.
Okay, good way to start with it. Baseball has had a antitrust exemption, and I can't remember if it's legislated or through the courts for a long time.
Forever.
Partially because it's America's pastime. Like that is a legitimate legal reason.
That's what they used. Yeah.
Written by some Supreme Court justice. Can't remember what. But the other part of baseball is that for a long time, there was no player agency until the court was basically like, I'm probably mixing this up. McClyde's going to call me in about 10 minutes.
Kurt Flood in 1972 fought it and was awarded it because it was rejecting his ability to maneuver in a professional setting.
Correct.
And you can't do that.
And that stems from, back to U.S. history, the Interstate Commerce Clause in the Constitution. The only entity that has the legal ability to regulate interstate commerce. So like, if you're a quarterback from South Lake Carroll and you go to Columbus, Ohio, the only entity that can regulate whether you're able to do that is U.S. Congress. Well, see that big office building that the NCAA right there? For about a century or something like that, you couldn't transfer without this rules. You're under these rules. When NIL comes around, a bunch of players look at this as like, hey, I'm trying to go from, and the main case is Raekwon Battle at West Virginia men's basketball. He's trying to go from Montana State to West Virginia, and the NCAA says, you can one-time transfer. You can't two-time transfer, because if you two-time transfer, you have to spend a year in residence. West Virginia and a bunch of states sue, say you're violating the Sherman Act, NCAA. This isn't going to work. The judge, who's a West Virginia federal judge, says, you're right, states. Raekwon Battle plays. I don't know how good West Virginia was. Doesn't really matter. That's kind of all to say that. Let me see if I can find here we go. The NCAA wanted to require a year in residence for that second time transfer because it's like, okay, one time we've allowed, two times no. All these state attorney generals fight the NCAA and say, you can't restrict these players' earning ability because that's restricting interstate commerce, which you, the NCAA, don't have right to do because now there's NIL. And the court says yes. That's happened plenty. We've seen the NCAA slap down in court. On principle, they seemingly have to fight it or else they won't. It's like then there are no rules.
It doesn't look like they have a backbone.
Right. What's unique about Seymore is that there has not yet been a challenge
to that year in residence,
to the year in residency rule for transferring outside of the portal window.
I don't see a way he doesn't get that.
And that's the year that Texas needs for him to be a part of the starting lineup or top six or whatever.
Correct.
That somebody on our message board mentioned that I think Texas softball is currently going through this. There's a player who transferred into Mike White's program outside of the softball window, and I can't remember when that is. and transferred to Texas, and her eligibility is up in the air because it was out of the window. So it's not just Seymore. Let's all be honest. Like, and hey, I think
I almost texted Ian to wake up.
You didn't know you were getting a civics lesson this morning.
And you know what? Ian's the historian here, Joe. Ian's the one I go to for my history.
This is all make believe. The law says whatever the majority of lawyers and judges in a given year decide it says. So none of that matters. You can't tell me that an 1890 law that was interpreted one way for 100 years is the reason why he should get another year. Because we've decided to interpret it a different way over 100 years later. It's all make-believe. Here's the deal. This is a disaster for the sport if this goes through.
100%. 100%.
Because the whole idea is they're trying to put any parameters whatsoever they can on the movement of players.
Because they want some sort of stability.
They need stability. The sport needs stability. It is an inherently martial, order, disciplined sport.
100%.
You guys go block. You didn't do your job. Go to the bench. You go and block. Go and block for somebody else to get the glory. The game does not work if we make it too individualistic.
Amen.
And I don't love that Texas is the one pushing this.
Texas is not the only one pushing this. There's
this is the precedent that would be set. And
just
Texas
this one in particular. There are precedents being set every day. You know?
I don't want Texas to do. I don't honestly. I wish
get
Texas,
where you're at, but don't act like this is different.
This
is just a particular difference because of this precedent. These things are getting changed daily. You know what Darian Mince's
and I wish Texas wasn't a part of it. I wish Texas.
I get that. I get that. You know what Darian Mince's contract taught us? Do you know what a contract is? It's not a binding thing between two parties. It's ground rules for lawsuit. That's all a contract is. Okay, I can sue you for this and I cannot sue you for that. That's all a contract is. And so that's what we're learning, man. There's going to have to be some new clauses. There's going to have to be new stipulations because Ian's right. This is terrible for the sport. Ian, don't go on I can't believe Texas is doing it. They need a left guard. Well, I don't care if he's 30 years old. I don't care.
Sark looks like a hypocrite because he had a lot of problems
so
with Diego Pavia. He had problems with Diego Pavia getting another year on his schedule. But when he's got a chance to have a guy on his team, it's not great.
Pavia is also getting closer to AARP status. So, I mean, maybe he's got a point.
I don't like it.
I got you.
Here's the precedent that people need to understand is that if KJ Lacey or essential backup X were to decide, you know what, I don't want to be a backup at Texas. I don't like this. I'm going to transfer in fall camp because I don't like this. And now I don't get any stipulations that would prevent me from doing that. So I'm going to go to Oklahoma. I'm going to go to Texas A&M, and I'm going to get to play immediately because Texas just established this precedent where keeping guys from transferring outside the portal window is now make-believe because lawyers have overcome it.
So
I thought we kind of saw that coming too.
We're on a slippery slope, and I'm trying to determine where to kind of take a stop.
We're sliding.
Because there are also rules about, and again, men's basketball has blurred these too because we've seen a lot of mid-year transfers for men's basketball.
Mid-year transfers.
Because that year in residence, because of that year in residence rule, like they don't want mid-year transfers. And I think that there are also NCAA rules on mid-season transfers, but why wouldn't those be attacked because of the fact that you're preventing my ability to make money in various different states? I'll say one thing about the portal in that I think this probably ends up with some sort of lawsuit or legal action if it doesn't mean if the NCAA doesn't just fold to where requiring portal entry for that immediate eligibility goes away. There's still a huge utility for the portal being on the calendar and for it being like, this is portal time to so many different players. Because like I'm trying to think of a good example here. Aaron Butler is a great example. Texas wide receiver. If he entered the portal in like February, there's going to be like no demand for him. He didn't play. He was just on Texas practice squad. He won, he was a 4-star recruit. There's not, no front office is in the mindset of like, all right, it's player addition and subtraction time. So there is a PR purpose and practical purpose to the window. But Ian, I do think you're right in that if Texas wins this, it's going to be like, well, the window is a social construct.
Yeah.
And then what happens there. And this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Like Jake Retzlaff played at Tulane because I'll speak in vague terms. He violated BYU's honor code.
He violated something, that's for sure.
And instead of facing the BYU like moral code he just withdrew, never entered the portal, and then just enrolled at Tulane. Same with that Miami DB. Wisconsin, Xavier Lucas. Wisconsin never put him in the portal. So he just withdrew from Wisconsin, and then he just enrolled at Miami. The portal is the thing that throws a wrench in this one. And that he entered the rules at the time where if you enter outside of a window, you have to sit a year. And now he's looking to get an extension of eligibility to get that year back. And we'll find out. He's got to finish his degree at WKU. How
about this, Joe? When do we get an answer?
So I talked to Pete Nakos over at On3. In the actual portal, there's a little note that says working on extension of eligibility waiver. I don't know the time frame for that. I'm sure if you also look at On3's like interior offensive lineman portal rankings, which I combed over, and it's kind of like that scene in Spaceballs where, have you found anything yet?
We ain't found. Did you know there's a Spaceballs 2 coming out?
Yeah, the search for more money.
For more money, yeah.
A lot of the guys in the portal who are available are guys looking for extra years. They're looking for Pavia years. They're like Seymore looking for an extra year. And that just speaks to, how murky it is with all the NCAA stuff.
It's the guys that know they're not going to be professional athletes. It's the guys that know this is their last chance or their last year at getting a nice check to play football or to play a sport. It's not guys that are going to be headed to the draft early or they're going to get, go in the first, second, third round, something like that. These are guys that understand I'm never playing football again once the NCAA says I'm done. So I'm going to milk this cow until it's raw.
Yeah.
And that's what Pavia and his mom and brothers and all that, that's what they do. They milk that tit raw.
And that's what Trinidad Chambliss is trying to do too. And it's a little bit.
Trinidad Chambliss is the On3 preseason first team All-American quarterback. Did y'all see that?
He had a pretty good year.
So you think he's better than the other one? No, neither does Ian. I'm thinking, why in the world would someone actually write that? And then I thought, it'll click.
Maybe that's something we can go over before we keep going. Got a couple of comments.
Let's pay some bills.
Can we say the best case scenario for Texas and college football would be that they find some BS deal with how Miami did his paperwork? And then
like Baylor. There could be like the Baylor Bears exception. Remember when Baylor screwed up Devin Duvernay?
They used some made-up thing to get him into Texas without establishing a precedent that you can transfer outside of the window and not have to pay the residential year in residence penalty. Because they need to maintain that.
Yeah.
I think that thing will be dead in 2 years.
I get where you're change how the sport is governed.
I want that, Ian. I don't think that'll be there in a couple of years. And this might be one of those things that triggers to take it away. Why would we make him sit for a year? That's against his civil rights. No, he made a decision. Why can't we just stick with the decisions we make for best, better, or worse? You made the decision to go there.
Collectively, programs will act rationally. Individually, they'll act selfishly.
If it's a win at all cost, nobody's acting rationally. Nobody.
First time watching college football. Before we keep going, gotta hear some words from Academy.
Fast one.
Same day delivery powered by DoorDash.
This one from Go Horns 2024. Big picture. A program like Texas should never be in the situation. Sark had numerous opportunities to meet OL needs to get.
Amen.
Having poor O-line last year, not excusable at Texas either. Find me perfect rosters in the last 5 years. Like perfect. No holes whatsoever.
Don't exist.
I will say Texas is often reactive and not proactive, but it is true of a lot of programs right now because so much is in flux. So,
I'm not saying that to defend Flood and say that the last year's process was good, because he relied on his own developmental ability, which, you know, coaches are confident, and he relied on it and vouched for it to Sark, and it didn't work out. That's his own fault. But to think that there are teams without holes, there are going to be holes. There's going to be one on this year's Texas team. I don't know what it is yet, but there's going to be one somewhere.
Every team can have one.
But Flood bet on his own developmental ability to get a group of offensive linemen a year away at best, ready for this year, and it for important positions did not cash.
He just didn't have a really good batting average. Look, there's at least 4 or 5 guys that just didn't develop the way we thought they would. On the other side, he's turned Trevor Gooseby from a 3-star into a future NFL first-round pick. So there is good and bad. I know the Flood bashing is easy, but let's look at both sides of it too.
Let's give him credit for evaluating Gooseby.
Hey,
100%. He saw something in Trevor before anybody else. I'll give you that, Ian. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will kill a narrative, support a narrative. On3 ranked Gooseby as, in high school, everybody else had him as a 3-star, and On3 had him as
a 4.
On3 would load. He was a 4-star, but he was also number 199 overall prospect. Nobody else had them in their top like 250, 300, anything like that.
Hey, you may not know this, but when Texas flipped him from TCU, there was one other school that came on really, really strong late and pushed for a late flip. And if Gooseby wouldn't have been so close to Kyle Flood over that year or two that they got together, this kid would have flipped to the other school. And that means he'd be the starting left tackle at Alabama today.
Oh, Alabama. Okay.
Wow. Saban begged Trevor Gooseby.
It would be peak NCAA to suddenly give an F about eligibility. Here's the thing, and somebody pointed out they kind of laid down for Pavia. If you don't fight for your rules, you have no rules at all, even if the court says, like, nope, doesn't exist. But if you're not fighting for it, then the NCAA, which is made up of schools who, you know, have people like Charlie Baker, whoever, and like the schools want the NCAA to make these rules. So the NCAA can't just, until they sue them, which I know.
I was about to say, do the schools want them to make the rules that appease to the schools.
Yeah, but then they also want their star quarterback to play.
And they want to sign him and know that if he's attending class, he's not just going to jump ship, tear the contract in half, pay the buyout, and go to South Beach. That's so unnerving for college coaches. You have put together a roster. It takes you 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You show up, and then all of a sudden, the quarterback you signed decided, I'm going to go get a little bit more money somewhere else. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Contracts are not binding between two parties. That's not what a contract is. A contract is a set of ground rules for suing. You can sue me for this. You cannot sue me for that. And, man, until we get that clause put in, like, we need 2-year deals. We have to hold kids to a decision. And I know, college coaches can move around to that. Hey, we're talking about players. You've got to hold these kids accountable for a decision. Let them fight through some of the adversity. Let them battle through a depth chart and make themselves a better player. We have gone so far on the other side when this coming to this, and it's only going to get worse. I'm with Ian. Like, I hate the structure. I hate the stability. I hate the long-term fandom, because we're not as emotionally invested in these players anymore. Remember, we would see a freshman linebacker like Derek Johnson and go, man, can you imagine what he's going to look like in 2 or 3 years? That guy's going to be an All-American. Those days are gone. You don't get kids for 3 or 4 years anymore. You don't get emotionally invested in these kids. And you know what? More and more fans are backing off of that. They like that part of it, that, hey, we went to the same school. We represented the same place, the same colors, the same traditions. These kids coming in as mercenaries every year after year, it's slowly going to chip away. Did the ratings suffer? No.
I don't know if I buy any of that.
That's okay.
Because in football, they wear face masks and they all have uniforms.
Do what?
They wear face masks and they all have uniforms. And ultimately, they're just
football players you're talking about?
Yes. Ultimately, they're just our dudes.
They're just
That's
dudes.
what it's becoming more of, and it used to be.
It's always been that way.
It has in college for sure. Yes.
In the NFL,
dude, listen. If this was 2005, Aaron Ross is transferred to Texas Tech. Aaron Ross is transferred to Nebraska. That's the problem. But you saw it growing up. Man, Aaron Ross, he's going to be really good. Man, they're so deep in the secondary. Can you imagine when Michael Huff graduates and when Terrell Brown graduates, Aaron Ross is going to slide in? Those days are gone.
I think that was a fun thing that existed in football and was important to some people.
It was very important to fans, Ian.
I don't think that's what drives interest in football. I think football is much more, are they behind our flag or are they behind the other team's flag? Are they on our hill defending it or are they attacking our hill?
Well, that's the way they thought about it 100 years ago. But when it became a multi-billion-dollar industry, they don't think that way anymore.
I think they do.
I think we went from a it's all big bang, big crunch. Like, I can go on Instagram real quick and I can find a video of, anybody just being like, oh, here I am. And I'm like, oh, wow, I like this kid. I'm going to follow him. And then he's like, he goes to, where's the school? Michigan State. I'm not going to watch Michigan State. But if I'm a diehard Michigan State fan, I'm going to watch whatever.
You'll buy in.
I may not care who's wearing green and white, but I'm going to watch it, and I get both sides.
We're not going to see the residual effect of this. Our kids will.
Yeah. Ian, time to talk a little bit about yours. And I think executive decision was just made to make this free to read. So go over InsideTexas.com. You can.
This was really good.
This is a little bit talking more about what we've been going over the past couple of minutes. What does it mean for Texas to have an NFL roster strategy?
I think everybody else has been writing this article already.
Yeah.
I just kind of repackaged it in my own terms. So credit to you and Evan and other people that have already more or less written this. But yeah, let's talk about it.
I like the way Ian puts it.
So what did teams used to do?
It used to be that you would recruit as many blue chip players as you had scholarships, or you could get to sign on the dotted line, right? And you would just hoard potential star talent 1, 2, 3 on the depth chart at every single position. And backups weren't like in the NFL, a backup is a guy that can like reasonably do the job at a cheap price. In college football, a backup was maybe that, but also just a future starter who's too young to start yet and not developed enough yet to start. And his turn is next because with graduation, you're always recruiting tomorrow's starters, right? So that was the old method, and we thought talent hoarding. The trend of talent hoarding is insane. Like in the '60s, Texas could recruit like 100 kids out of Texas.
Yeah,
Stack them all on the
Most
roster.
yeah.
and then I think
They
It
were
was limited to
recruiting
85,
them.
and we thought that was really limiting when it went to 85. But man, the way it is now, you take a look at. I think Evan chronicled how many former blue chip players are transferring en masse out of Oregon and Notre Dame and Ohio State and Alabama and everywhere else. Nobody is holding on to first, second, third string, all 4 or 5 star players anymore.
I remember, I think when Bud did the blue chip ratio, or he still does it, the highest ever was like Alabama, one of those either 17 or 18, maybe 19 teams. And it was like 96%. And the only 3 stars were the punter, the long snapper, and the kicker. Like, that's what teams, and that's what made Saban great. He would just hoard talent. And then Georgia kind of figured it out. LSU got them because they had this great combination of elite talent already, and then scheme and an unlocked player and Joe Burrow. Like, it used to just be who's got the most talent. That's why Mac Brown won the national championship. To be completely honest with you,
No, you're right.
it's why Bama had good schemes, Georgia has good schemes, but it's because they have the players. But now, and Sark even talked a little bit about this during his signing day press conference. Like, he talked about how, and this is all despite having a class with 14 members of the Rivals 300 signed out of 23. There are first round guys. There are second round guys, just kind of in their thought process. And then there are, fourth, fifth, and sixth round guys who they see promise in, but they know are going to get fourth, fifth, and sixth round money, to be completely honest, and then are also going to take a little bit longer to become the type of talent that maybe a high-end, fourth or fifth round guy becomes in as they go throughout their career. And I think Texas, we're seeing a hard pivot this cycle to, I think, what you're talking about, Ian.
Yep. I think arguably a lot of schools. I've started breaking down what everybody did in the transfer portal, and I'd started with on threes preseason number 1, Ohio State. And Ohio State is a very similar story. They've got like 5 incoming defensive transfers that will probably start for them.
Sheesh.
Because they got 2 incoming tight ends. They had a huge portal class, Ohio State. It was like 18 guys or something.
You talking about last year?
No, for 2026.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, we've been so busy keeping up with the chaos of Texas's roster turnover and chasing.
Yeah.
And as Evan pointed out, I think like the same thing is happening everywhere. Everybody's drinking from a fire hose.
Especially to blue bloods, because like you mentioned,
Yes.
you can't pay that guy to sit, and that guy doesn't want to sit.
It's not fiscally responsible anymore.
There's two big forces that are driving that before we get into this next section.
Okay.
One is NIL and revenue sharing. I actually should have mentioned revenue sharing in the article. NIL and paying players above board means paying players is something that more teams are doing, and more teams are doing at scale. So what happens, Joe, in your economics class if demand increases and supply doesn't?
The price goes up.
The price goes up. So then that's a force. Then you have revenue sharing. So you have these schools that have to spend money, especially like there's a lot of Big Ten schools where revenue sharing is like, hey, you need to start spending $10 to $15 million on your roster. And these northern schools were like not interested previously in spending big money on their football rosters. It was
Right.
not a value. So you get schools like Purdue all of a sudden spending like an SEC school. Woof, what does that do to prices? You get a school like Indiana that suddenly cares about football and it has like revenue sharing or Mark Cuban money or whatever. Woof, prices flying up. And then one more force driving up prices is that the players can transfer. I mean, we'll see whenever they freaking want, maybe definitely once a year, right? And so that means that they get to test their market value all the freaking time.
And they don't even really have to enter the portal to do it with agents being involved in this. They can back channel to figure out how much they're worth.
And that drives up prices like crazy.
Yeah.
Because you can't remember when like Patrick Mahomes signed that $200 million contract or whatever. And then within like 2 years, it was like the Chiefs are getting a freaking steal.
Yeah.
That you don't get that effect in college football.
Yeah.
Mahomes renegotiates all the time and squeezes it raw, as Justin was saying earlier about
in
Bobby.
the first
in the dairy world, they're called teats.
Yeah.
So
And like think of, I won't name specific names not to anger anybody, but like first team all NBA guys do that. Like they'll sign 2-year deals with an opt out after one, so they
Like
can
LeBron James.
Yeah, so they can readjust their money or they can, get what they think they're worth a little bit more. But the thing is, ostensibly, you have a 4 or 5 year cap on how long you can do that. Whereas first team all NBA guys have been doing that for about the past 10 years. Anyway, college sports. So now with those forces at play,
it's too expensive to build a roster of 85 blue chip high school recruits. You can't afford it, and they won't stay on your roster.
So what do you have to do?
You got to pay for it. Becomes much more like the pros, where you pay for the guys that you think will have the maximum impact on winning, and you have your maximum contract guys, and you have your veteran minimum type contracts, and you have your rookie scale contracts. And it's like, hey, rookie, if you are good, then we'll renegotiate and give you a big extension and big money. Hey, veteran minimum guy, if you're really good and you have more years left, we'll renegotiate. But if you're not, you're not going to get that money anymore. And we're going to try to pay exclusively for guys that we are sure are ready to come in and play now and be productive now. So like Ohio State, 5 defensive starters out of the transfer portal. We're going to go pay a few guys a lot of money instead of paying a ton of guys some money.
And I think in college, you can also, at some of those schools, do that when you have a very obvious coaching advantage. Like this time last year, I wouldn't have been saying that, but like Matt Patricia, and you combine him with Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles. You combine an elite coach, at least as far as scheme goes, with a couple of elite players. You don't have to pay top dollar at all the positions to already have the impact that you want.
Right.
Yeah. Some schools are able to do this. Some schools think they're able to do this and obviously aren't. And then some schools just straight up can't.
This definitely puts a bigger premium on effective scheming and deployment, because you can't just outweigh teams with pure talent across the board very easily anymore.
You got to outweigh them with depth and with guys that aren't injured.
Yep.
Oh,
and you have to make the most of the matchups you have. So if you have a Caleb Downs, you can't have him do what just any safety would do, just at a higher level. You need your scheme to squeeze value out of Caleb Downs' abilities.
Amen.
That player is going to be Colin Simmons this year. Let's see.
Yeah.
You brought up an interesting aspect with Marcus Boswell from Akron, who went to Lake Travis. He's actually enrolled and on campus right now, so he's going through off-season workouts. Where does he fit in this equation? Because I really like the fact that you brought him up, because I don't think anybody has like high hopes for him, and I don't mean that like very negatively, but man, you went to Akron out of high school. You were brought in this portal cycle to kind of fill a position that needs
Fill in the
numbers.
blanks that the recruits from before left.
Right.
That's all.
And he's someone who probably isn't going to start. But, man, looking at that room, he's going to be needed depth this season.
You know who didn't start 2 years ago but was much needed depth at that position? David Benda. You got to have depth there. And after the offseason Texas had at that spot, I think he was needed more than ever.
So the Barnes to Boswell is the perfect example of this deal. I think Livingston and Moore to.
I want to hear this, Ian. No, I want to hear this because Barnes is the one guy from this portal year that infuriates me that Texas lost. That's the one guy.
It's terrible that they lost him.
God.
I really wish they could have kept him. But this is a really good example because you can't pay a 4-star backup.
I know. Well, he was a 5-star actually, but yeah, I know.
He was a true blue chipper. You can't pay him starting impact player money to be a backup. No. So Boswell is a like in the NFL, if you're getting guys to fill out the bottom of your roster or your practice squad, nobody in the NFL is like, how come you guys didn't get why didn't you get Will Anderson to fill out the roster? It's like, what are you talking about? We can't pay Will Anderson. And what we need is somebody that gives us a backup option in case a bunch of guys get hurt, maybe some special team snaps, and allows us to have enough bodies to practice, right? So we're going to get a guy and pay him for that job, which is like emergency player, special teams contributor maybe, and allow us to practice. Well, you don't need a 4-star, 5-star blue chip player for that. And it doesn't make any sense to pay a bunch of money for that spot when you need that money to go get Cam Coleman or to just have anyone remotely good on your team with all the
Make sure Trevor Gooseby stays for one more year.
Make sure Trevor Gooseby and Hero Canoe come back, right? So this is just a perfect example of you're starting to, even a school like Texas needs to think in terms of let's go buy some backups and depth pieces that may never, ever. I mean, if Boswell ends up being really good, then it'll
really be because maybe someone else was injured in front of him and he just was presented.
Well, I'm just saying if he explodes and he ends up being like an NFL player, then awesome. But guess what happens if he does? You're going to have to renegotiate his contract and you're going to have to be productive.
But then you're paying for production and not potential.
But then you're paying for production. Yeah.
And
it's the same thing with like Livingston and Moore were good players, but you can't afford to play like you needed your outside receiver, as I explained a million times, to be like a star player. So you have to go get Cam Coleman and pay for proven production, and you can't hold on to pretty good players. You got to let them go. If Oklahoma wants to make Livingston the star of the show.
It worked for Brennan Thompson.
Eventually.
That's what I was about to say.
Eventually.
I hate the way that went down with Parker, but I will not. I'm going to stand I'll die on this hill. Elijah Barnes was the ultimate failure in the portal stuff this offseason. My God, you don't let good young linebackers like that go, especially when Anthony Hill's going to draft and Leonardo Fowle's going closer to the West Coast. I just can't with that.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to our other sponsor, that is Andre the Lawyer.
Texans know when you're injured, there's one name that gets results: Andre the Lawyer. Trust the team that has secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans win their injury cases. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Don't let the insurance companies tell you what your claim is worth. Andre the Lawyer will fight for you. His principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait. Call 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. Contact info is in the description.
looking through the comments. Y'all have any NCAA things y'all want to talk about? Because I'm about.
Isn't that what we've been talking about?
Yeah, that's true. I'm gonna pull up a graphic of the
In the Super Bowl this weekend?
next weekend. We got the Pro Bowl, man.
The Pro Bowl? Dude,
Pro Bowl games.
There's no such thing as a Pro Bowl. It's now called the semi-Pro Bowl. And it is absolutely worthless. You can make it with 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and a god-awful season.
My son was asking me about the Pro Bowl. He's like, when's the Super Bowl? And I was like, oh, it's in 2 weeks. He's like, when's this Pro Bowl thing? And I was like, it's not real. It's not actually going to happen anywhere. Just don't worry about it.
You know what you should show him? Show him the old Pro Bowl tapes from when they were in Hawaii, when they would hit. And I think the Sean Taylor hit is kind of what triggered the whole, you know what? Do we really need to be doing this with $1 million investments on the weekend before the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. But if your son wants to see some, I used to enjoy those Pro Bowls. I thought it was cool when Michael Irvin was catching a touchdown from Steve Young. I just thought that was, or Randall Cunningham. I just thought that was cool. And they competed. It's like the old All-Star games in basketball. They used to actually compete in those games, and those games were tremendous. Now, there is no Pro Bowl. It's just at a weekend where they get to trigger the clause in their contract that they got paid more money because they were invited to this weekend.
The initial Pro Bowl list is the one worth looking at, but then you should also just look at the All Pro list because that's the real.
All Pros completely different. All Pro is legit. Pro Bowl is nothing.
None of the All-Star games make sense anymore because it used to be if you wanted to see a star player from another team, you needed them to like visit your town.
And that was the coolest thing in the world to see them for that one night.
Now you can watch them on TV on demand anytime you want. And so all-star games are a relic of the past, much like bowl games.
I'm very anti-baseball all-star games simply because it cost the Texas Rangers a World Series in 2011. It's you're going to give it home field advantage because of an all-star game? Can you be any more stupid and reactionary? God.
Just let it go, guys. Just let it. Just
terrible.
I think
don't forget they're going to lockout in 27, and I'm preparing for this for the baseball card market because it's going to plummet in the next 10 to 12 months when they do strike, and it's just like that's a whole other ball. It's like the NCAA is a mess. My God, baseball is a bigger mess.
Some people buy Bitcoin, some people buy gold, some people buy silver. Justin buys rookie cards.
I feel like there was an outfield play that may have had more to do with it than the All-Star game. But I'm going to use that to hard transition.
Oh, man, you're going to have to tell me what you're talking about on the other side. Who is Matt King? Let me guess. New offer. Is he a guard, Chris?
Eric just wrote about him. He's an addition to Texas strength and conditioning staff. Eric has an article on the front page of Inside Texas right now, free to read. So go check that out. He was, I think, at Washington. And he was I think he was the head strength and conditioning coach at Maine for 6 different sports, which I'm going to go ahead and classify that as a little bit impressive. We mentioned that way too early All-American team. You want to go through that real fast just to close out?
I thought it was a legit list. I really did. But I do know why they did it at quarterback, and I find that dishonest.
Let me see if I can. I have it pulled.
Wait a minute. Does Chambliss even have eligibility? This kid's what? He's 24?
That remains eligibility. So the fight that they're trying to make is that here we go. Let's try this.
And this is Ian struggling again because Ian's like, I'm watching a grown man on this list.
The argument is that his Division II years don't count, which is crazy.
Okay.
Garbage.
Going through the rest of it. The second team quarterback was Julian Sayin.
You know why they do that?
I don't know.
Because it'll click. It'll give you reactions, responses. People will fret online on social media. They'll instead of just doing it the right way. Call it even, guys. This is a joke.
What about the rest of the offense? I know we don't see Cam Coleman on here. He was a second team selection as well.
I think Tony and Smith are probably legit. Those are hard.
Still playing base defense, huh?
Yeah, it's an All-American
In
team.
the year of our Lord 2026, we're still playing a 4-3 defense in college football.
I like seeing an offensive lineman from UH on this thing. And you got to think, how did someone not come in and take that kid? And then I look and it says offensive guard. Guard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Houston's what? 7-1-3, 2 hours?
You know what? The other guard is also from Cincinnati, and you wonder how come a Cincinnati guard.
Okay, yeah, but you do recognize that name, don't you?
I do recognize that.
Okay, I don't.
I know that people wanted him to get in the transfer portal.
Oh yeah. Let's not say too much. Yeah, we're
Trevor
Inside Texas is anti-tampering.
Trevor Gooseby, first team offensive tackle.
He's going to be the first offensive lineman drafted in 27.
I'm trying to think of who else is even in this draft cycle. I mean, Seaton.
Carter Smith
was the other tackle. Where's Jordan Seaton?
He is on.
Okay, Carter Smith. Carter Smith
is Carter Smith
really
actually good, or did he just win the championship?
No, Carter Smith's actually really good, but I don't think he. But guess what? He ain't going before Jordan Seaton in that draft.
Seaton can't, or Seaton. I'm not going to do the can't. I'm going to do the can't versus hasn't thing. Seaton hasn't run blocked well. We'll see if he will.
Does Colorado run the ball?
They tried to this year and it didn't work very well.
Oh man, I can't imagine them trying.
I don't. I need to watch that game more carefully. But my sense of Miami versus Indiana was that if Indiana didn't do something that got the ball out within 2 seconds, that Ruben Bain or Akeem Messidor was crushing Fernando Mendoza. So I don't know if I can buy Carter Smith as a first team.
If you notice the two hits he had on the first drive or second drive, it might have been, they were in the kind of late realm. So I don't know if that was left tackle based or not.
They schemed around their inability to win in the trenches.
Yeah. Sure. So then why is their trench guy first team
in there if they're scheming around him? No, I'm with you. I'm just maintaining Jordan Seaton goes higher in the draft than Carter Smith.
This is an obvious. I watched these guys in the playoffs. I recognize their names. Bias to this list.
I'm surprised the OU kicker is second team and not first team.
Is he back for another year?
Oh yeah.
Tate Sandell is back.
Yeah.
Where is he? I don't see him here.
He's on the second team.
Oh man,
that last game must have really hurt somebody's feelings. And I'll say this too, as much as I'll clamor about, it's obvious Arch Manning should be the first quarterback on this first team. Is Rasheem Biles? Am I overthinking it? I know he had a great year last year, but is he one of the top 3 linebackers in college football?
It's very generous.
I thought so too.
I saw that guy's name at the top of the transfer portal list kind of selection.
So here are the other linebackers: Whit Weeks, Raylan Wilson, Isaiah Jones. And they put him above those 3 on the second team.
Yeah.
Colin Simmons, I don't think there's any.
I'm wondering. I see Colin. I don't see Dylan Stewart.
Daly had a better year than him.
But that don't mean he's a better player.
Wait, who's that? Who's Daly?
He was at Utah and followed Whittingham.
Oh, is he that guy that was crushing Seaton in film?
Yeah.
I pulled up the Utah game to watch Seaton, and I was like,
that was him.
I was like, Utah's got this white guy that is just abusing him every snap. Which I Utah has white guys that'll do that. So I didn't take it as that big a knock. But I was like, I don't know.
Let's tilt it back to center.
Ryan Niblett, returner. Anything? You know what the big thing? I think the best retention on this entire list. Okay.
Oh, that's easy. Leonard Moore.
No, it's Kelly Jones. That dude.
Okay, do you say his name Kelly Jones? Have you seen that on Twitter? His nickname is Kelly Jones. His name is Kelly Jones. I don't know where that comes from, but that's a good call because we do remember him.
You look at him and you're kind of like, wait,
how did he not transfer?
Yeah, you're still at State.
Dude, Leonard Moore's best corner in the country, and he grew up 10 minutes from campus in Texas.
I feel like he's been at Notre Dame for like 7 years now.
This is his third.
He must have been a freshman starter.
He did. He started as a freshman because Notre Dame had 2 of their starting corners get injured 2 years ago. I think Benjamin Morrison and another.
I remember that.
So
and Morrison got drafted by the Buccaneers.
And the only other
you know who else Notre Dame added? The starting freshman corner from Michigan, Jaden Sanders, Kilgore High School. Yes, Notre Dame they got some DBs back there.
I'm about to get to them, and I've already noticed there was like a couple of receivers from Ohio State where I was like, oh, they're not at Ohio State anymore. Where'd they go? And it was every time the answer was Notre Dame
or South Florida.
Well, actually,
Mylan Graham. Mylan Graham and
Pregon. No, not the O lineman from Oregon, but his name. It's a Nigerian name. He just signed.
Add that to Great House, and that's a pretty good wide receiver crew for CJ Carr.
But you notice something at Ohio State? It's Heartline effect. Maybe we start seeing some effects of that.
We'll see also how well they incorporate Chris Henry Jr. as a freshman, because they obviously let some of those guys.
Did you see Chris Henry Jr. was the number 31 ranked overall prospect in the Rivals final recruiting rankings? You think there's 30 high school football players better than Chris Henry Jr.? I got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you.
He kind of looks like Randy Moss.
Dude, do you not remember the athleticism of his dad? His dad was a different. You got athletes in the NFL, and then you got plus athletes. Chris Henry was on another planet. His kid is legit. 30th in the country, 31st. No, brother. Y'all messed that one up.
I'm with you. We'll be talking the offseason over at Inside Texas, so make sure you go to that first link in our description. Make sure you use that QR code at the top of the screen. Sign up for just $1. Can't wait to see everybody over there as we go through the end of this little – hey, guys, signing day is next week. You remember when that was a thing?
Hey, Joe, look at this real quick. Kelly was the one who put Wingo on an island with the 6'4" hips, speed, and ball skills. Didn't Wingo's best performance, most productive performance come against Mississippi State?
Vanderbilt.
I know it was for 100.
Mississippi State was
Mosley.
No,
Mosley caught the last.
Wingo tore up Mississippi State, but he did it on like 2 80-yard screens. So
Kelly had a really good game. I remember watching Kelly. Kelly had a pick, and I remember watching him and being like,
he was long. I kept thinking, like, man, that kid is long. That's like NFL prototype long.
Yeah. I remember Wingo's numbers from the Mississippi State game were insane. It was like in both regards. It was like 16 targets, but only 5 catches. But then the 5 catches produced like 200 yards because he had like a couple.
That's what I was thinking off the top of my head. I'm like, man, wait a minute. Yeah, but man,
it's possible that he did an amazing job on Wingo in that game.
100%. I agree. I'm not disagreeing with our guy Just Ball. I agree.
He had 5 for 184.
Yeah. And he was,
And then
that's an average.
Mosley had 2 touchdowns. Livingston had 2 touchdowns.
The last touchdown from Mosley was the big one.
Yeah.
Right in front of Brandon Walker.
And then Niblett. Yeah, that was that game.
The Niblett game.
Oh,
I mean, there were some other.
That was a fun week.
One of the Niblett games.
I'm so glad he's coming back.
Yeah. Well, I am too. So
let's get out of here.
Gentlemen.
Come see us at InsideTexas.com, man. It's the best time. It really is. We posted – how many words did we post in a recruiting thing this morning, Joe? A lot.
We got 7 prospects.
We got Charlie Williams working on some stuff. Man, come see us, man. It's never been a better time.
We'll see everybody over there. Thank y'all for watching IT Live, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors.